What is poppin', Chi-Town? We are Windy City Fantasy back at you again, here for Week 9 previews, injuries, COVID updates, no election update because we don't talk politics on this show, but we got a great show for you today. How you boys feeling tonight?
Feeling juicy.
Feeling fly?
Gotta share with everyone out there so they can come watch.
If you're new to the show, congrats and that you found us or somebody told you about us. I am Steve. This is Moose across from me.
Hello.
And our beat master here is Elliot, Funky Fresh.
Oh. Yeah, wash my beard. Feeling good.
Guys, I want to apologize for being a little late on our start. We normally start at 6. We got held up. That's life 2020 in a nutshell.
2020.
But we would have talked about the Thursday night game if there was much to talk about, except that the Packers are going to completely womp on the Niners. I did want to say, though, tweet came through, Moose, and the lineup for the Niners, they're starting wide receiver core due to the fact that Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, a lot of people are out.
Kevin Bourne.
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne. They have Trent Taylor, Richie James, former Bears, Kevin White, and River Cracraft. I'm just going to call him River Caca.
The cockroach is out.
Right? That's horrible for Nick Mullins. And the fact that you have JaMycal Hasty because Tevin Coleman re-injured his knee. Mm-hmm. He's back on IR.
Jared McKinnon is still banged up.
He's still banged up. You have
Mostert's still out.
Mostert's still out. Like, oh my goodness.
George Kittle is out.
He's out for 8 weeks.
Freddie Jimmy's out.
Back in
Jimmy.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's any gorgeous anymore.
No.
That's pretty ugly. He's ranging fugly range right now.
And their left tackle is out. Like, the 49ers are literally rolling in with the replacements.
They should have got Joe Falco, though.
Oh, that would have been great.
That'd have been awesome.
So I don't know who you got to accept the agreement through StreamYard, or else we can't know who your name is. But as far as Jones's production tonight, after being out for 2 weeks for a calf injury, I think he'll be just fine.
So, but Packers publicly came out today after their morning practice saying that he's going to be limited. So,
but even in limited, if say he gets 10 to 12 touches, and he could still make a great day out of it.
Yeah, I mean,
almost made a faux pas.
I mean, the only thing that I worry is if they went in too fast and he injures it early in the game, just.
Oh, Chester, what's up, buddy?
Chester?
Yeah.
What's up, Chester?
Throwing people off.
Hope you're doing all right.
No, I'm like Chester. I don't know no Chester.
That's all right. He's a good guy.
Good guy.
Terrible supervisor, but great guy all around. He's not a supervisor anymore. He's up in the ivory tower. So, anyways, we got some news to get to first before we get to our Week 9 previews. Moose, you want to get us rolling here?
Sure. What are we going with?
We go where the wind blows, my friend.
I got you. And the wind is blowing towards trades.
Yeah.
I want to talk about trade. The trade deadline happened on Tuesday.
Yep, ended.
No really big splash. A lot of defensive players got moved.
Wait, are you telling me the Bears didn't get a tight end?
No.
I heard they were going to get a tight end.
No, the Bears didn't get a tight end. The Bears didn't get a wide receiver like I thought they would have.
But they did cut a wide receiver.
Yep.
Ted Ginn Jr.
Yeah, but I mean,
not the right one. We could cut him too.
I mean, it's probably even gonna. I probably might even see Wims coming up with a disciplinary thing with what happened with last week. And
he got suspended for 2 games.
My goodness, that was amazing.
Wow. Someone put up a meme that was basically 2020 right there. Was getting hit twice like that.
Yeah, but the cornerback just didn't no sell. It was amazing. He got smacked and was like, "What are you doing?" And then he got hit again. It was like, ah. But anyways.
Well, supposedly he reached in Wims' mouth and pulled his mouth guard out.
So I heard many stories. I heard that he was talking smack to Mooney. And
he spit on him or some shit like that.
He was supposed to be defending the player. But if you look at the replay, he ran. They were in different routes. They weren't even at the same location on the field. He ran to him and then started this. So it's like, whatever. I still don't think there's a need for that.
It's the replacements.
Yeah, if you fire up your team, then catch a ball and take it to the house.
Right? That's how you fire up a team.
Don't go over there and punch you.
This isn't the replacements where the entire
looks bad, you look bad. Like, come on, he's only 25. Like, you still have your whole career.
I mean, this isn't the replacements where you guys get in a bar fight and end up in jail and start singing that song. I
will survive.
I will survive. So, but yeah.
So the two trades that happened that affect the offense is Miami Dolphins send wide receiver Ford to New England Patriots. They're getting a conditional 6th-round pick in 2022.
And this fills the needs for the Patriots because of Edelman being out for the next few weeks for the.
So they got Myers. They still got Bird there. They pick up Ford, which, I mean, he's shown splashes with the Dolphins. And, I mean, if we both think that Newton is better than Fitzpatrick and Tua, then I guess that's an upgrade.
But, I mean, he's good for NFL purposes. He's not good for your fantasy team.
He's the guy that stretches the field, and if he catches that bomb, then you were happy that you had him in the lineup that day.
Right.
But you're not going to start unless you see production out of him. And then the other guy is the Kansas City Chiefs sent running back Washington, if you guys remember the Washington.
DeAndre Washington, yes.
And a 7th-round pick over to the Dolphins in exchange for their 6th-round pick.
And this is a little interesting because Myles Gaskins, who is now on IR,
correct,
he's going to be out a minimum of 3 games. Back goes the Burrito Howard show for how long it will be. Now, I will note that DeAndre Washington still has to pass COVID tests, has to go through some physical before the trade is complete. So he's definitely not going to play this week, possibly next week.
But it's very interesting to see, especially with his receiving ability, and he's proven it with the Raiders in the past.
Yes.
And my thing too is Howard. It's 3 weeks in a row where Howard was a healthy scratch from the lineup, and then there was rumors that they were trying to move him at the deadline. So I don't see Howard really playing a factor when Washington comes in. Hey, what's up, Elliot?
So I got a nomination for Lucky Bastard of the NFL award.
Oh, okay.
And it's Josh McCown. You know he signed another contract with the Houston Texans? How is this guy getting all this money? Like what? Like who's do I gotta to get that? You know what I mean? Like,
so the Eagles signed him, or did they get him off of their practice squad?
Because I'm looking.
I thought Josh McCown was still under contract with the Eagles, and he was sitting at home like.
No, veteran quarterback Josh McCown signs with the Texans, his 12th NFL franchise.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's good for him. So
I like Josh McCown.
The guy's probably played in 5 games as a starter. He's played with 12 NFL teams, generational wealth. Like, that's the guy. Like, that's.
And he probably invests. So he's.
And his brother's better than him.
Oh my!
So
God.
Lucky bastard of the NFL.
We have a question.
God bless you. Salute, Josh McCown.
Josh Jacobs and Calvin Ridley both questionable for Sunday. How worried should I be? Facebook user.
So
asks.
I would not be too worried about Josh Jacobs. He was a full participant in practice on Wednesday. Yep. And then he was limited to basically out for Thursday due to an illness / knee ailment. Now, he has been dealing with this knee ailment since week 2.
What?
That's a tongue twister. I'm not going to say more than once, Moose.
What is it?
Right. Knee ailment.
A knee element?
An element.
Element?
That was an element.
Why don't we just say knee injury?
Sure, why not? I was trying to be professional, if you will.
Us.
Maybe. At least to pretend to be one, okay?
It's a lower body injury.
There we go. Lower leg injury. Slightly above the ankle, but below the hip.
I'm also not worried. If you saw what he did last week, he put over 100 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
So
now the Ridley portion of that, I'd be more concerned with because even though the MRI proved that there was nothing structurally wrong with his foot, it's still a foot injury.
And they're saying it's a bone. It's a little bone in the foot.
Yeah.
And I've had a few injuries of my injuries myself. In the lower foot area with little bones. And let me tell you.
How low in the foot area? Because there's a range. There's a mid, a high, and a low.
Let's just say my big toe isn't the big toe anymore.
All right.
These are all your tennis injuries?
Actually, I got this from football. So that was not
No,
cool.
I'm not. You're like, first of all, guys, not the 3 of us here, but like the outside I wasn't saying that to be funny. Like Moose played tennis.
Oh yeah, no, you guys see me in the thing. No, tennis is my number one sport. I'm a great guy. Coached it, loved tennis, played football, played hockey. But yeah, like these injuries, and it sucks, especially the foot one. And we see it in the NFL. A lot of people don't take it serious. A lot of players,
Frank, all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and then what happens? It gets worse and worse. And now what should have been a week or two gone is now a month, 5 weeks,
Yes.
So I think the Ridley one is more scary. I think you could hold off on playing Ridley. I think Jacobs, you're going to be okay.
Right. If Ridley doesn't practice Friday, consider him out for Sunday. Remember, the Friday practice report is the one that you want to see that comes out.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs, the illness may kind of scare me, but if they've already tested him and he's passed, then there's no problems there. The knee injury, he's been dealing with it. Gardner Minshew will likely be inactive this week as well.
Yep.
They just came out of their bye, so they had high hopes that maybe coming out of the bye he would be healthy enough to play.
So the weird part is there's rumors that he was on the trading block, and before their bye week, they already said that he was not going to play this game because of the thumb.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if it's more serious than they thought it was going to be, since they already announced him a week before the game, or are they just like we call him here, Tanksville?
Yeah, Tanksonville.
So I was gonna say it's all going according to plan. Hashtag Tanksonville 2020.
If you guys
Johnsonville, Tanksonville.
You can see me. I'm air quoting. Marone keeps saying that they're playing the best people, and he's gonna shake it up to see if they can get some win.
Magic 8 Ball. He's gonna shake it up.
No, go ahead. Who's starting?
Our friend Mike Gleason.
Maybe your friend, not my friend.
You remember the guy in Tampa that everybody's like, go and get him?
My gosh.
And the Bears are like,
why must we go down that road? It's like with those bad nights when you're out with your friends, you're like, we should never speak of this again. Like, those are moments where you never speak again. Where the Bears sign Mike Gleason, but then draft Trubisky.
America.
Oh man, I totally forgot about that.
Right? Do you remember that? And they gave him like 2 games? Not even 2 games, right?
Like, I don't know.
Game and a half, I think it was. Either way, again, we should never speak of that. We're locking that away. Like everything else in 2020, it's getting locked away.
Next.
All right. Yeah, exactly.
Lions wide receiver Kenny Golladay is expected to be out this week and would be considered week to week going forward with the hip injury.
This is
really severe, since I know that they're moving up. This guy, I believe his name is Hill or something like that, into this Hall into the starting lineup, and they're very excited about it. I've heard bad name for a woman. Do you think that this hurts Stafford?
The Stafford he's on COVID reserve, so he's out
for this week.
Last time I checked,
I know he has the COVID.
But if he's got the COVID, he's out
on COVID reserve list.
Yeah, if he's on COVID reserve list, he's pretty much out.
Well, okay, but moving forward, I mean, he's been productive kind of without him. He's been way productive with him. Do you, as a fantasy owner, try to move Golladay?
It's tough because even on name value and what you've seen in the season, we're this late in the season right now. What do you really expect to get in return? Good example, Zeke Elliott. I was talking with a good friend of ours about it because he's also the owner of him in another league. And he's like, what kind of value can you really get for Zeke at this point? Like, there's nothing wrong with him, but given the situation that Dallas is going through right now, where it makes it extremely hard, even for a talented running back, to try to make production out of nothing. Yeah. Granted, they did get their left tackle back this past week, but Ben DiNucci was
Gooch.
He got benched. He had the Gooch got tossed.
Who is worse right now?
Listen, they stuck some needles in that Gooch.
Okay, let me ask this question: who is better at tanking right now, Jacksonville or the Cowboys? Because they're sitting DiNucci because he doesn't have experience. Yet the guys that are playing for the starting position have combined for a total of 10 NFL snaps.
Mm-hmm.
He at least played a game, a quarter of a game, 3/4 of a game. they're saying that DiNucci doesn't have the experience, so they're going to go with the guy that has 6 NFL passes.
He could read those defenses, man.
It's saying.
It's like the same thing. A person trying to get a credit card and they said we can't give you a credit card because you don't have any credit. Well, how the hell am I going to get credit if I don't even apply for a credit card to gain credit? Or you go to buy a used car, son, you need credit. How do I get credit? Get a credit card. They don't want to give me a credit card. Get a cosigner. Like that this is like like who is this guy? Gilbert is like the cosigner for Ben DiNucci to gain some playing time for the next week when McCarthy figures out like, oh, maybe we should give our 7th rounder a try. So I don't understand what the hell's going on in the Cowboys organization. I don't know if this is Jerry Jones like tinkering on purpose to be like, we should get some better picks.
Somebody put a piece of bubble gum in the dike and then another hole just opened up.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, hello.
the damn moose.
I heard something else.
Yeah. No, that's a word.
No. It's a word for
That's a
damn.
grammatical word for a dam. Right?
Yes.
Sometimes we know some things on this show. There's a lot of things we don't know. That's how you learn in life, right? All right.
Yeah, just like the gooch.
All right, moving on. Saints quarterback Drew Brees, shoulder, Alvin Kamara, foot, and Michael Thomas, ankle/hamstring, were all limited at practice today. Let's be honest, Brees and Kamara, there's no chance that they're not going to
Veterans Day off.
Day off. Mike Thomas, are we just getting played around here, or are we actually going to have a moment where we actually get to see him?
Is it Thomas or is it the Saints organization who's pulling the trigger of when he's going to be able to play?
Is there is he going through a contract issue right now?
Thomas? No.
Yeah.
I don't believe he is. And actually
it's weird because this is something that a wide receiver would do when he's going through a contract year.
Yeah.
When he's not happy with his team.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything. I thought he got a big contract last year.
I mean, he might have. It's just weird to me. Like it's almost like Allen Robinson's situation.
Right.
So not to cut you guys off, to go back to something we were talking about previous moves, I looked into it. So Stafford's wife, who got COVID, but the family and him has tested twice and they've come up negative, but they still put him on the COVID reserve. He can still start this Sunday against Minnesota. But again, something to watch and see. So I may just opt out for playing this week. Sorry to cut you guys off. I just wanted to finish that up because in case anybody was wondering, if they own Stafford or intend to play him this week, especially against a bad Vikings defense.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Thomas is it's just wait until Sunday morning to see what happens because, I mean, you're going to have him in your lineup and he's probably not going to play. Like, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I'm not starting him unless I get the full, he has all green lights because all they're saying now is that they're on yellow.
Yeah. Christian McCaffrey was a full participant in practice today.
He was.
Looking like we may have green lights a go for finally coming back, but they did say that they would limit him. Now, how much they would limit him to, that's the question. But again, you get 10 to 15 touches out of Christian McCaffrey, whether they be passes or rushes, and he can still make something happen. You're still going to start him, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to just kind of sit back and wait like you would a normal player.
No, I think he goes back into the starting role. I think he gets anywhere from 10 to 15 carries, and he's still going to be in 10 to 12 passes, or receptions,
Yeah.
That's a healthy amount still for the running back. And I think not Thomas, who's the guy that took over for them is doing really good this year?
Mike
Davis.
Mike Davis, yeah.
I said Mike
Sorry,
Thomas.
I was distracted typing over here.
Davis, yeah. He's still going to get, I think, 10 carries, maybe be in some of those receiving. If they're driving, they're not going to keep, switching both of them out.
No, Matt Rule already said weeks prior that when McCaffrey does come back, that he's still going to have a role within the offense because of what he's done.
McCaffrey's going to get back his starting gig, but it's not going to be 100% of the snaps.
No.
That's what I'm trying to say.
No. I think what they're going to realize now is that they can rest him without the risk of oh, we just lost a key guy for a couple of plays that we may need him for,
That's what I'm saying. Like they're doing like a drive where it's like no huddle. They're not going to pull out Mike Davis if he's out there because he's proven he could be a number one back.
But there's definitely not going to be a running back by committee neither. To where
No.
people may
I don't think so.
I think this is going to still be
70-30.
a very heavy workload. Could be 80-20.
Yeah.
Like I said, just a few little breathers in that. Good sign for T.Y. Hilton. He was knocked out of the game early last week due to a groin injury. It doesn't appear to be major. Possibly just a grade 1 strain. Maybe, takes a week off.
Yeah, or just this weekend play Sunday.
You already took a week off, bastard. No.
If you get for not playing Darnell Mooney.
Facts.
Facts
I picked him up 2 weeks. I picked him up 2 weeks at a time. And I was like, oh, he's available.
For anybody who jumped on the Antonio Brown train, he is eligible to start this week. And report come from Bruce Arians that he will be involved in the passing game. It could be 10 plays. It could be 20. He goes, I don't know yet. We'll figure it out come game day. So
they're going to draw straws and see how many passes.
If
what's his name? What's his name's not going to take this? How many they're going to take away from
Evans?
From Mike Evans.
Listen, couple of things I want to take from this. If Godwin is out this week, is your confidence a little more boosted starting Antonio Brown?
Yes.
And then number 2, after this week's Monday night nail biter against the Giants, the touchdown saved Mike Evans' day. Are you now hitting 911 panic button on the season? Because when Godwin is healthy, and then you do have Antonio Brown now, and still a lot of work is going to Gronk. Like, this is a very loaded plate.
Yeah, if I'm the Evans owner, I'm trying to trade him. I'm trying to trade him for
if I'm the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm trying to trade him.
Well, they had their chance.
I mean,
we talked about it. Like, the Bears,
that would have been
Bears
awesome.
would have been a great fit to get Evans.
Yeah, but I mean, like fantasy wise, I think he's actually hurting your team because you're trying to play the name value and you know what he's capable of, but he hasn't done it. There's a time and a place to pull the trigger. It's a time and a place to start somebody. It's a time and a place to trade, to get somebody, whatever the case may be. He still has the capability of becoming, the Mike Evans of old. But if you're on a team and you're on the border of the playoffs or you're making a great playoff push and every week you're like, man, I should have started this wide receiver. I could have done better. I could have done this.
Yeah.
Try to trade him away. Try to trade him away for picks. Try to trade him away for younger running backs. Maybe try to trade him for
sell the name, the fact that he's on a team with Tom Brady, all these factors that come in. Listen, it's tough. Like the great Matthew Berry said, what's most likely to happen in a season? When you look at factors, when you look at situations for a team, like you've even said yourself, Moose, even on a bad team, there's fantasy value to be held somewhere because they have to put the ball somewhere. Right. In a very fantasy heavily loaded team such as the Buccaneers, it's too hard to predict week by week whose number is going to be called for the great day.
I mean, you remember Houston in the beginning of the year. 1 week was Fuller, then the next week was Cook, then it was like...
The consistency in this is the fact that Gronk still remains to be the guy that Brady's still his go-to guy. Scotty Miller is his Wes Welker, Julian Edelman light 3.0. So the rest are all toss-up. So whether you not believe that Antonio Brown has a resurgence and can help save your fantasy team, I mean, if you feel confident enough to start him, go ahead. I'd probably wait a week and see what his snap percentage looks like. What's his targets? What the targets are key.
Yeah, if Godwin doesn't play, you start Brown.
Yeah,
Evans proved last week that now even with Godwin gone, Brady is not targeting him like he should.
Even with the bionic eye. But the one thing the bionic eye has right now. But that Brady has lost over the years was the deep ball.
So the thing that I read about Evans, which is kind of interesting, because it may be the factor is that Tom Brady is more precise. So was Evans used to always having to reach out for the footballs, jump higher for the footballs, be more of like a jump ball, more of like a use my body here. Whereas like where he uses the body, it's more of a pinpoint accuracy, and it's affecting his ability. Somebody wrote an article about that because Tom Brady is more accurate. But week 9, you're telling me you can't catch a perfect ball now?
Yeah.
That's what you're getting paid to be a wide receiver to catch these balls.
Right.
And last week he proved that if it wasn't for that touchdown, he would have been again irrelevant, and Godwin was out.
Question.
Yeah.
Answer.
Did Matthew Berry also say that Danny Dimes was going to be a top 10 quarterback?
Listen, sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them. I'm still sticking with my boy.
Hold him.
I'm just saying. I had to jump off screen because I had a beer up again. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You weren't snacking up?
Beer up.
No, I ate dinner already. Like,
I
like to eat. I like to see if people can guess what I'm eating.
All right. So we've delayed long enough. I think it's time to roll right into our week 9 previews. And I think should we start with the current stand-ins for our deep dish of the week?
We could.
Shall we dare?
It's the game within a game.
Right.
We have to. All right. So the score as of right now, Elliot's in first place with 22-8. Steve 18-12.
Oh.
Rough going.
And Big Daddy Moose is at 16-14.
Big Daddy Moose. Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh.
You get a few wins under your belt. You're feeling all juicy.
Yeah, top dog, bro.
You're dried out.
The diesel's coming.
The diesel's coming. The pain train. Taking you to Pound Town.
Oh, this went south.
Right. All right. First on the docket, the New York Professional Football Giants versus the Washington Professional Football Team. You like how I did that?
That's what we're starting off with?
That's what we're starting off with.
Cool.
Listen, you want to throw some wrenches in our picks for like last week like you did? I'm going to start with this. So, I'm going to lead the floor with you, Moose. You can filibuster this game all you want.
Filibuster. So Washington wins. I feel that Washington definitely has more confidence when Allen is their quarterback.
Okay.
So I think you could start Allen. You definitely start Antonio Gibson, and you definitely start Scary Terry. I think all 3 guys could easily get you 20 fantasy points.
You know what else has been scary?
J.D. McKissick.
No.
Oh, okay.
If you look at the past 3 weeks, the Giants' defense has been sneakily good for fantasy play.
Sneakily. Yeah.
Like, literally, like, they've either gotten a pick 6 or they've recorded a couple fumble recovers for at least one for a touchdown. Or if you look at the performance, how they did against the Buccaneers. I mean, they legitimately have been doing decent. And I thought it was just a blip because they were NFC East teams they played. Cowboys, the Eagles, and then they played the Bucs. And it's like, all right, granted they lost in.
Yeah, but it's Tom Brady. It's not the Bucs. The Giants always play Tom Brady excellent.
I get that.
I think it's a requirement.
Yeah, like it's like you're a New York Giant. You have to beat the Cowboys.
Listen,
you have to beat the Eagles.
You
got to beat the Brady. And they're like, yeah, let's do it, America.
So the week against Dallas, they scored a defensive touchdown. The week against Washington, they scored a defensive touchdown. They had the interception. They could have had one more against Philadelphia. They got over 10, got 11 points there. They got 13 against Tampa Bay. I mean, if you're a streaming defensive type of guy, I think looking at the Giants defense against Washington's offense, I mean, again, this is an NFC East game where now who leads atop the division? The Eagles by like half a game.
Sure.
I mean,
I know it ain't the Cowboys. I know it's not the 1-7 Giants. So, I think the Eagles are like 2-4-1 because they have that tie or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, but still, I mean, you can say the same thing about Washington's defense. Then they're going up against the Giants.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
There's just a little bit of more of like a discourse, and Redskins, or we can't call them Redskins anymore. We're going to call it Washington camp, especially since Kerrigan was requesting for a trade. He didn't get it, so he's unhappy with the team. That could have some effect with the play for the
Yeah,
week.
but I mean, it's like
Or he plays his heart out, tries to hit the market, and then goes from there.
Right. I mean, that's what I see it more. Like, I look at some of these players, and it's like, do they really want out of Washington, or is it like, hey, Washington, you could get something out of me, like send me to a contender so I could try to compete for a ring, like that's how I see it working out. But
Right.
I mean, like fantasy-wise, I mean, you're starting Slayton, you're starting Shepard, you're starting Freeman or Gallman.
So Freeman was a limited participant in practice today, still dealing with the ankle injury.
So Gallman.
So it could be Gallman. Gallman had a decent game, Monday night game. Not great, but if Freeman's a go, then that definitely hurts the Gallman's carries right there.
Yeah, I mean, he's against Philly, he did 34 yards and a touchdown, 20 reception yards. Against Tampa, he had 44 yards, a touchdown, and 18 reception yards. So, I mean, he's definitely getting carries, and he actually looked really good against Tampa. Like, towards the end of the game, he was running strong. And against, like I said, against Washington's team.
I understand. Say what you will about Daniel Jones, but the past 2 weeks, he's gotten over 20 points fantasy scored for
we're
a
not
quarterback.
calling him Danny Dimes no more?
We can call him Danny Dimes. I just wanted to call him by his proper name, Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes.
I mean, he's good to throw
Danny top 10.
Yeah, he's good to run down the field and trip.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not throwing an interception, he's having you a fumble. So, I mean, you take the bad with the bad, and you make it worse. So, start the Dimes up against the Washington.
Danny 10.
Both games have the potential of.
But no, I know what you're getting at.
I mean, both teams, not both games, both teams.
It's going to be one of those ugly games, like where they put up like 20, 25 fantasy points because they're just all trying to play catch up and just really horrible football.
So, Jay, your question is, how much do you trust Slayton if Shepard and Tate are playing? Now, regardless of that, like Slayton is still getting a lot of targets.
Yeah, no, you start Slayton.
Like, sure, like Shepard falls in for the touchdown or Tate throws a touchdown, whatever, so something happens right there by a stroke of luck.
So in my semi-professional podcasting NFL reporting career, I'm saying that Shepard's actually taken more away from Tate, not from Slayton.
Yeah, no.
He's getting more of the slots. He's getting more of those underneath plays, but Slayton is your number one guy there.
Yeah, if I look back here, so he's still averaging at least 7 targets per game. The previous 2 weeks, they were rough. Philadelphia and Washington, he only had 4 and 3 targets. 9 targets against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has a good defense, a good secondary. They were on top of him, but he just had that defender beat every time. 11 targets against Dallas. Remember, we talked about you could basically just throw anybody against Dallas and they're going to have a great week. But the targets are there, 7, 7, 6, 9. Regardless of whether Shepard's there, Tate's there, they're both there. You can still have Ingram there. He's healthy, making things happen.
Yeah, and it's like the case in Seattle when we get to Seattle. But you have Metcalf and Lockett. 1 week they're doubling Lockett. Metcalf gets everything.
Yeah.
1 week they're going to double cover Metcalf. Lockett gets everything. That's the same thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Shepard had the 10 receptions, the 9, 70 yards, and a touchdown. But Slayton still had 7 targets, 5 catches, like 50 yards. Like, they're both just going to switch off or both going to do good.
Absolutely. All right, moving on. I don't think there's much more we just beat into this ground. Detroit, Minnesota.
Was that last game one that we're supposed to pick?
I don't know, Moose, because you're in charge of that one. You just
I'm throwing wildfire at you too, bro.
Wildfire.
Okay. I'm just checking.
Don't worry, my games are going to be.
I was gonna say that's collusion right there.
I think
picking games I can lose.
We're gonna have some outrageous games here.
I picked the 4 games that I think are going to be the funnest ones of Sunday.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
So Detroit, Minnesota. We already talked about one of them. We already talked about Stafford, so it is a possibility he still plays against Minnesota.
I mean, who would have thought Minnesota beat Packers?
Minnesota did.
No, they didn't. Everybody knew they didn't.
Come on, Dalvin Cook comes back in a heroic. The heroics of Dalvin Cook's 4 touchdowns as he led that team to victory.
What happened was Minnesota's like, oh shit, let's get out of here before somebody figures out we did something bad. Right. They're like, your game's over, everybody on the bus. Like, we're going.
It's like when you hit a you give a hot shot to a racehorse right before the race starts, so
Exactly.
he just comes out of the gates and then he's like wildfire,
Yeah.
as you say, wildfire.
Wildfire.
But yeah, so obviously you like Cook for the game. You like Thielen. Jefferson was pretty quiet last week against the Packers, but do you think that was more due to the weather?
I think that was more due to the Packers secondary being better than the run defense. I don't think he's going to have that problem against Detroit.
Okay.
For sure. I think you could start Cousins confidently this
All right.
week.
Since there's not going to be any Galladay, do you think they're going to lean heavily on the running backs, or do you think this could be a Marvin Jones and Hall Jr. day?
Well, I mean, they have Chase Daniel throwing the ball.
That's if Stafford doesn't play.
That's if.
All right, good scenario right there. If Stafford isn't playing and you have Chase Daniels starting,
Yeah.
do you stream the Vikings defense against the Lions?
Yes, but I'll be very, very cautious about Quintus Cephas. He's coming back from the graveyard. I talked him up first 2 weeks when Galladay was injured.
I think you've been Cephasing off of something right
No,
there
man.
because
No, he's legit. 22 years old, 6'1", 205 pounds. He has hands. He's coming out.
I would hope you have hands. You can't catch a ball without hands.
Hey, Shaq Griffin does. Anyways, no, I think you could start Marvin Jones. I like the Vikings defense is banged up, but I think if Stafford starts, you don't play the Vikings defense. If Stafford doesn't start, play the Vikings defense. But I think Marvin Jones is going to be the target if Stafford's not in there. So I would just monitor the whole Stafford situation.
And for the record, it's Marvin's Jones now.
Marvin's
Elliot, put that
Jones.
down in the book. Marvin's Jones with an SS.
Got it.
All right, cool.
Marvin's
cool.
Jones or Marvin Jones. It's the
Yeah,
same
Right.
thing. You know who I'm talking about.
Carolina KC.
Yeah,
Now, for
Carolina.
those who actually bet money, there's about a 10.5 point spread for the Carolina Panthers for this game. This one's going to be blowout, KC style, KC masterpiece style.
Oh,
Right. But yeah,
Check out this hot take. All right.
all right, let's get it.
Show me
Hot
that.
take for you. It's going to be more on the running backs than it is against Mahomes. So expect Mahomes to have a good game, but not a high fantasy game. Expect Bell and Clyde Edwards-Helaire to go off. And just,
Let's
put that
hope
one in
you're
your
right,
pocket.
because the fantasy owners were very disappointed last week against a juicy matchup against the Jets, where Mahomes throws 5 touchdowns. Nary goes to CEH or Bell.
Don't you just love fantasy?
Right? It's wonderful.
And like the thing is, we get our hopes up every week. Like we knew Mahomes was going to throw for 900 yards and 15 touchdowns, and yet we were like, Clyde Edwards-Helaire's going to get 100 yards. Everybody start Bell. He's going to get 100 yards, and they're like, Mahomes was like, calm down, everybody. Like I'm going to win this game. It's beautiful. I love fantasy.
I mean, this could happen against the Panthers. So, like, the real question is, like, expectations, right? McCaffrey starts this game. The expectations of the Chiefs defense now shifts to focusing on to McCaffrey more, wouldn't you say?
I agree.
So this opens the lane for Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore.
I agree.
But this actually could be a better matchup for Robbie Anderson than it could be for DJ Moore. Would
I
you?
totally agree.
All right, so we're 3 for 3 so far.
Yeah, no,
All
I
right.
totally agree. I mean, Robbie Anderson this whole year has done nothing. Even last week's performance when he was only targeted 4 times, but he caught all 4 passes.
Mhm.
That's his only 1 week game this whole season for the Panthers. DJ Moore, he's going to be that. You're going to start him because he's still going to get targeted, but he's a boomer bust for me, in my opinion. He gets 10 targets. He only catches 5.
Yeah.
Talking about Robbie?
No, DJ Moore.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that are like, go down the field more. Double coverage, I'm still going to throw it to you type thing, He's a more of that number 1 wide receiver, whereas Robbie Anderson is going to get those quick slants, those underneaths, those quick targets, and be like, okay, see what you can get out of it,
Yeah.
Here's
Whereas-
the possession receiver.
Right, so they're like, we need a home run, we're going to DJ Moore. 3rd and 2, we're going to give a slant to Robinson.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, to Anderson.
Anderson.
Well, I will say, because since McCaffrey's been out, Carolina's offensive scheme has gone more balanced. than it has been more run heavy and then widen it up with a little passing.
I feel with McCaffrey back, their passing is going to get even better.
I know, because they're going to want to stack the box.
Right, because now you're like, is he going to get a handoff? Is he coming out from the backfield? They could run fake screens all day to McCaffrey, and people are going to bite every time.
Mm-hmm.
You run a fake screen to the left, you roll out to the right, you got Robinson and DJ Moore. It's a beautiful thing. But then again, it's the NFL.
And it's fantasy football.
They're probably going to be like, we're going to run the ball. We're going to set an example.
2020.
We're going to time management. And it's like, God bless it, man. All right.
McCole Hardman scored a touchdown last week.
Oh,
probably was a waiver pickup. Go ahead.
Bridgewater or Cousins?
Cousins side.
I think Cousins too. Cousins too.
Bridgewater can make some things happen for Moore and Anderson, for they have one of them has a decent game, but in the end of the game, he's probably not good. He's probably going to up with the 14 points like he did last week against Atlanta.
So the Chiefs' defense, I notice when they're in a slugfest going back and forth, they don't perform well. If they get a 10, 14, 20, 21 point lead like they do with Mahomes, they're a completely different team. Because now all they worry about is, okay, we become one-dimensional. We have to stop the pass. They're not selling out on blitzes. You know, they bring one once in a while. They rush 3 or 4, but majority of the time it's 3, and they're just focusing about stopping the pass. And I feel this is one of those games where Chiefs may be like really quick, 3 scores, 2 scores, and then now you're trying to play catch-up the whole time, and their defense like settles in on that.
Right.
So I think Cousins is the way to go this week.
All right. Back on my Hardman question, because he scored a touchdown, he might have been picked up in waivers this week. Could you start him against Carolina? Honestly, unless you're in desperation mode.
I think if you're in desperation mode.
Or it's still going to be Tyreek Hill, Kelsey. Sprinkles of other guys. Is Sammy Watkins going to play this week?
The Lizard King?
Yeah.
Probably not. It's in Kansas City. It's probably snowing. We all know he's like hot-blooded and everything.
He's cold-blooded.
Yeah, but I mean, Nicole Hardman.
He did return to practice yesterday, though. I will tell you that. So,
anywho,
okay.
He had 9 for 7. I don't know if it's because it's the Jets. If you're going to look into that, but I don't know. I don't see Sammy coming out and making a big splash.
Okay, if he starts.
I mean.
Well, I mean, it's his return back from injury. Right. When does he have his best games? The first couple games of the season, and when he comes back from injury.
Sheds that skin, and then he comes out a brand new man.
See, I like those 3 guys, Hardman, Robinson, and Watkins, you're using the magical pen. You're using the magical pen. You close your eyes, and you're like, oh, Watson. Or Watkins this week. You know,
we're adding a new player. His name is Watson. Yeah. All right.
It could be.
Enough of this nonsense, Moose. We're talking Tanksonville and Houston. Game of the week. And this must be one of the games we got to pick from, isn't it?
You know it.
Tanksonville Light.
So Mike Gleason versus the Houston Texans. The star-studded affairs of Will Fuller, David Johnson, Randall Cobb, Deshaun Watson. Give me Jacksonville. Not.
All right. So, update on the QB situation. Jake Luton is now named the starter for this week. Jake Luton, 24-year-old, 6'6", 236 out of Oregon State.
Does he have a stash? Does he have jorts? I don't care. He ain't my quarterback.
He has a pretty smile.
That don't win games.
How long has he been in the league?
It
doesn't matter.
He's a rookie.
That's what I thought, because I never heard that guy's name before in my life.
So this will be Houston's first time seeing Jake Luton themselves. You obviously don't like it if you are the DJ Chark owner.
Oh, no, you love it.
Why?
Because that's all he's going to go to.
Really? What if this is a situation like Sunday Night Football where the McCarthy and the Cowboys schemed how Ben DiNucci was supposed to operate, and then like Michael Gallup was the only one who was a recipient of anything? when you got a player like Amari Cooper. 2020.
Yeah, but the Eagles' front line is way better than the Houston's front line.
You got J.J. Watt.
The Houston's front line is better than Jacksonville's front line.
Yeah, but you could stop J.J. Watt, and they know J.J. Watt. I'm just saying, this kid's going to be like Chark all day.
Okay.
All right.
I'm just saying, like, I'd be really worried if I own Chark to play him.
You heard it here.
That Chark is going to have...
Chark got like 15, 16, 17 targets.
Okay.
This week.
All right.
Okay, I heard it.
All right, I heard it here.
15, 16, 17 targets.
Mike check 1, 2.
Not points.
Good.
Targets.
Targets. Not points. Targets. Targets. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Lock it in. 15, 16 Targets. James Robinson. How do you feel about him this week?
Well, I don't know. Apparently, Texans.
Because all those Targets can't go.
It's just so amazing that they're going to stop the hottest running back.
Because, you know, he's not going to get no Targets after 15, 16 is going to go to Chark.
Yeah, you know that. Yeah, no. The hottest running back in the league is going to get stopped by the 1-6 Texans.
They're both 1-6.
One's tanking.
Everyone's doing it on purpose. I'll let you figure out which one is which.
Expecting Jacksonville to be like this.
No,
I think you have to start James Robinson. If you're sitting James Robinson, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be playing fantasy. You heard it first.
Yeah, you heard it first. Oh my goodness. We're gonna put this on a list of things being said. 2020 list.
Are
list
you confident starting Fuller, Cooks, Cobb, all of them this week?
Yeah,
if you're owner of any of them,
this Jacksonville D can be beat. I expect a good game out of David Johnson.
I do too.
Definitely Fuller. Cobb has been like surprisingly decent,
like
good flex appeal out of Randall Cobb. And actually, I think you were telling me right before the trade deadline that people were approaching the Texans for both Fuller and Cobb.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it goes to show you what he's done so far this season. So he's averaging at least 5 targets a game.
Yeah, so
catching
apparently
3 to 4 of them.
Fuller wasn't traded because the Houston wanted a second-round pick or better, and no team was willing to give that up. So when Green Bay heard that, they pulled out of their thing.
Yeah, I would have too. Give you a third or fourth maybe, but
for Fuller, I would go with the.
If you're the Bears, would you go second?
So
rounder?
If I was a team that was on the cusp of the playoffs, like the Green Bay Packers, I would have gave up a second round for Fuller.
His appeal brings a big wow factor to your team, but the only thing that hinders him a lot of times is his hamstring problems. And if you don't get those corrected, they will continue to crop up and bother you, and you get sidelined. And that's been his downfall. No.
And then look at this. Weather plays more of a factor than people think. He's going to go from a humid, warm weather town like Houston to Green Bay.
Yeah, no.
With a hamstring problem, that's not happening. I don't care how good of a wide receiver he is, even alongside Devontae Adams. He's not going to. There's no way. No way I'm giving up a second round pick. Like Steve said, I'd give you a 4th round pick. I'd give you a 4th round pick, maybe a 3rd.
Picking maybe a 2022 conditional pick, depending. I don't know.
Yeah,
but then I'm not a GM. So I can't make smarty pants decisions like they do on a higher NFL level. But that's.
Yeah, they know a lot. They see it. I shouldn't say they know a lot, but they see a lot more than we see. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we tend to have blinders on for a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, all right.
We have to pick a winner.
I want to pick a winner.
You have to go Texas or Jacksonville.
Give me the Texans.
I'm going with Jacksonville.
This game just stinks.
I had a feeling you were going with the Tanksonville Jaguars.
I don't know. Like whenever something like this happens, it's just.
I kind of want to do it too. Something's telling me to go with Tanksonville because I've been on Tanksonville's side this whole year.
Yeah. Come to the dark side. We have cookies.
Do not mush. All right, mush. You can't pick the Texans, mush. This guy right here, and in LA, you go and pick the Texans. We're all screwed, and Jacksonville is going to win because mush.
Yeah, no,
he picked somebody, and it doesn't come right.
I see it. You know what? I'm just going to go with my gut, and I'm going to go with Tanksonville.
Well,
yeah. All right, Baltimore, Indianapolis, both 5-2. What? Colts are 5-2? How'd this happen?
Simple. They played crappy teams.
Oh, okay. All right. Just want to double check. Wait, how did it happen again?
Crappy teams.
All right. Thank you. Anyways, Baltimore and Indianapolis. So for those who haven't been following football, Colts defense is actually good. And considering that they are ranked first for allowing the fewest yards allowed to tight ends, they do average under 100 yards rushing to opposing running backs. They hold opposing quarterbacks to either 250 or less.
Well, if you played Jacksonville, a week Minnesota, the Jets, a week Chicago.
So now we have a legitimate team.
Cleveland.
So now we have a legitimate team with a legitimate run game. I can't really call them a legitimate passing game because Lamar doesn't really average over 250 passing yards per game, but he will average 90 to 100 rushing yards per game.
Oh, yes.
With no doubt. Bigger question is Mark Ingram going to start this week?
How surprised were you that the Ravens were running the way they were against the Steelers with Dobbins and Ingram? Or not Ingram, Edwards.
The Gus Bus.
The Gus Bus.
Our little Gus.
Do they really need Ingram?
They can sit him another week till he's healthy, but
Gus
really
had 16 carries for 87 yards and a touchdown. And if I believe Dobbins was 15 for 113 yards. They put up almost 200 on the Steelers.
Yeah. That was surprising.
Maybe youth does have something. Maybe Ingram is missing a step.
Well, how is Ingram now? He's 32.
32. Yeah, 31.
So he's plateaued.
Fantasy, do you try to trade him?
Ingram?
Or do you hold on to him?
At this point right now, I try trading Ingram to somebody who is running back dependent, very running back dependent. And you sell him on the idea that he's still a starting running back in the NFL and he still will get touches. And once he comes back, because that is the case, though, that truth to that narrative does not go away. When Ingram is healthy, they will hand the ball off to him. But it is definite that Gus, and Dobbins will take a lot away from Ingram, and he will only use probably Ingram from goal line situations from here on out, or furthermore, because he's not getting the value like how he had last year. And even Lamar is not running like he did last year.
Yeah.
I got to look it up right now, but I don't think he's on pace to break 1,000 yards. That's for sure. If I check right now. So right now he only has 411 yards rushing in 8 games. And I believe at this point last year, he was already past 700 yards rushing before he finished the year off with 1,200 rushing yards.
Yeah, so his rookie year, he ended the season with 695. Then he had the 1,206. He has 66 attempts through 9 games. So if you're going off of this, he should be around 900. Maybe for the season, which is still great. Some running backs can get like that.
Yeah, but obviously, given where you drafted him, what you expected. If you were going to expect another 1,200-yard season, I think you better go pound sand somewhere else because that's not going to happen. But
most of the playoffs,
are you going to see the 7 touchdowns that he got last year? He only has 2 right now.
So here's the amazing part about fantasy football is some teams leagues don't go to week 17. And you can now start looking at matchups during playoffs. For most teams, playoffs start week 13, 14, 15?
Yeah.
So he has Dallas, Cleveland, Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the playoffs.
Jesus.
Right? That's your playoff right there. And if you go to week 16, the Giants.
If you go to week 17, Cincinnati.
Right? So it doesn't matter how you get there. The point is if you get there.
Right now, it's hold on to your breath. Let him do what he does. And try to make the playoffs because you're going to be a golden child when you make the playoffs.
Yeah. So trade for him.
So for here, I would say start him.
All right. Colts side. I was completely wrong about my Jonathan Taylor prediction for my locked and loaded because it was Nyheim Hines and Jordan Wilkins.
There's rumors that he had an injured ankle and was playing through the injury.
Mm-hmm.
But now there has been no word out of camp further about this. They're saying that it's nothing too big. They're not going to report about it. But yet, Wilkins had the big game on the ground, and Hines had the receiving.
Yep. Dude, Hines had a ridiculous 20-yard reception for a touchdown where he, like, if you didn't see it, you got to go back and look at the replay. The way he got away to score that touchdown,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, that was a beautiful football play right there. Old Man Rivers, he did somehow. Still a trap. I wouldn't start him against Baltimore.
I wouldn't.
I would not trust him going forward. We don't even know if T.Y. Hilton's going to start this game.
Questionable.
If you're choosing a running back from the Colts this week,
Bust out the magic pen.
okay, who are you going with? It
Taylor.
looks like Hines.
You say Hines, I say Taylor. Potato.
Potato. I don't know. It's going to be their only flex appeal for me this week. Wide receivers, good Lord, Hilton.
No, you can't trust the Colts
Pascal
wide
Pittman,
receiver.
I don't know. Even Trey Burton, he didn't.
Who?
4 for 3 for 9 yards.
Boo Boo Burton.
I don't think you can trust anything through the air for the Colts right now.
No.
Stay away from it.
Yeah. If anything, maybe the defense can hold up long enough to keep them slightly in this game to where they may be able to fall into the end zone to keep themselves relevant.
It's Baltimore. It's going to be a tough defense anyways.
Please tell me this is another game you picked.
Oh, God, no. Come on.
All right.
I have more questions.
Good. Seattle, Buffalo. The 6-1 Seahawks face the 6-2 Buffalo Bills. Guys, it's getting pretty ugly with Josh Allen these last few games.
But they're still winning.
Yes.
Who cares how ugly it is?
But are you winning in your fantasy with Josh Allen?
I don't know. The guy I played did. So, yes, you are.
So, over the last 3 weeks, 19, 20, still not bad. 12 against New England. Now, this was a game where he should have shined because the way this defense and this offense.
They only had 18 attempts through the air.
Yeah.
They definitely ran the ball with Singletary and Moss and controlled the time management and squeaked out a win.
But that was also weather-induced as well and everything that goes on.
Now you're going against Mr.
Unlimited
with
and this
that offense.
And this Bills defense has been horrendous.
So I think it's going to be a shootout. This is the game of the week. We're picking this game for us. And I think it's going to be a fantasy juggernaut of a game.
I will say this though, like
Bonanza.
you were just talking about fantasy playoff implications, and if you're looking ahead, so week 13 on, the Bills play San Fran, Pittsburgh, Denver, New England, or if you go all the way to 17, they play Miami for the last game of the week. Not as beautiful as Baltimore's, but
no,
do you still like your options then if you're still the owner of Josh Allen?
I think so. I mean, the Steelers is the only one that is scary. But I mean, he's beat the Pats.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other game, week 13?
He's got San Fran.
Which, I mean, unless they have their offense back that week, that's going to be one of those games where they're going to control. I think the one you really want is some people that have Russell Wilson. They have the Giants, the Jets, and Washington if you make the finals.
My Lord.
Guess what?
If I face you first round, Elliot, I'm just going to concede to you, man, because that's holy crap.
I also
Yeah, go ahead.
have what's his name? Why can't I am so horrible with names. I think that's why I'm here.
That's why we're all here. We're a support group for each other. Hi, my name's Steve.
I also have Tannehill.
Yeah.
As a backup.
Okay.
Because it was pounded in my head that Mr. Unlimited was going to fuck me when it came to the play.
I will say that if history repeats itself, Russell Wilson has proven that in fantasy playoff weeks that he has 1 or 2 bad games that have costed you immensely.
Yeah.
To either lose them by either a point or by a larger margin because of what he did, because they didn't feel the need for them to throw.
I had him last year when I won, but then I also had Fitzmagic, so I was.
2019.
I straight up picked up Fitzpatrick just for the playoff.
But that's what you do in fantasy when you look ahead into
right.
the playoffs. You start planning ahead.
So for this week for fantasy, you start Russell Wilson. You
Damn
start
right.
Allen. You start Diggs. You start Brown. You start Beasley. You start Metcalf. You start Lockett. These are all guys that I think are going to shine because it's going to be one of those games. My question for you is, which Seahawks running back are you starting? Is Carson back at 100%? Do you trust the rookie Dallas?
I think if you're really desperate, you definitely go DJ Dallas. But then I don't know, because if Carson's not healthy to go, but let's say Carlos Hyde is, then that changes the narrative. So they like Hyde. He can move the ball. He doesn't catch as well as like Carson or DJ or Travis Homer.
Carson missed again practice, but that was due to coaches not wanting him to. But he is trending up in the right direction. So
I mean, again, so if Friday he practices, then I'll be happy to know that he's going to start Sunday without any problems. And
at least get split the carry.
Right, or split the carries, but then he's still going to do something.
Right.
Because he's that talented.
Right.
A lot of people keep knocking Carson, and I don't get it because he doesn't have what? What is he missing that people have to knock him for?
Dreadlocks.
Okay, what else?
A grill.
Kind of need those.
Cool catchphrase.
Yeah.
A cool dance.
What's our cool catchphrase? It ain't juicy. That's
Bonanza.
Yeah, Bonanza.
I think you could start Singletary, but Moss is definitely cutting in on the Bill side.
Yeah, I definitely
Last week was kind of, I think, his come out game. But then again, once again, was it due to the weather? Was it due to they were decided to have a heavy running back? Because Singletary was in the receiving back more. So once again, against Seattle, I think it's going to be literally guns loaded.
Yeah.
Free for all.
And surprisingly, Seattle's front defense cannot cause enough panic to Josh Allen to give him problems. They don't pressure the quarterback enough. Mm-hmm. It's already been proven that so far for this year. Their secondary is less than stellar, so they can be beat. This should be a good game from Diggs. Beasley should be open a lot in the middle, even though they have solid linebackers. But yes, locked and loaded for a lot of these players here. On the Moss conversation, when you just brought that up between Singletary and Moss, they did say they want to utilize him more and closer in the goal line carries.
Correct.
But yes, weather did play a big factor. They are in Buffalo this week, so this could be another weather-induced game where they have to rely, both sides have to rely heavily on running. You may see a big running production out of both Wilson and Allen.
Right.
They both can run the ball.
So who wins?
Oh, this is one of your picks.
I told you.
Son of a bitch.
I told you I'm picking the best games this week.
Picking last in this one.
All right, fine. I'll go first. Bills upset. I'm going with the Bills. Cool.
You're going last, huh? Well, I'm also going to go. No. I'm riding the Unlimited train, man.
You got to.
I have to. That's my guy, Mr. Unlimited. Lockett, can you please throw him the ball this week? I think it's his turn. Shoot, you can even give it. If you even need a.
Sharon is Karen.
You could probably grab Olsen, as a sneaky tight end pick. Although they have the triumphant of tight ends over there, so yeah, I'm going with CLT.
So this is tough, but I have to go Seattle because the Bills' defense has a lot of problems. Seattle's defense has problems as well. That's why I figure both sides are going to be scoring. But from what I saw when they played the Chiefs, and that was just raining. Now, if it's snowing or anything, in which it always does up in New York, I could see another bad game.
I feel the Bills have better cornerbacks to help kind of slow down the wide receivers.
Yes, but those wide receivers versus the Bills wide receivers are on a different level. Like DK Metcalf is a physical freak, and Tyler Lockett has like hands with
did you see
like
him
stick
run
them all
down
over him.
Buddha 2 weeks ago?
Man, he's chasing down people faster than Predators chase down people.
He had a 15-yard head start.
Wow.
Yeah.
15-yard head start, and he caught up to him.
I know.
With like 10 yards left.
Yeah. I know. It's ridiculous. But yeah, give me Seattle in that matchup. And then Jay has a question. I don't know if it'd be for this week or let's say for rest of the season. How about this? Rest of the season question. Josh Allen or Kyler Murray?
Ooh, hot take.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go last.
Give me Kyler Murray rest of the season.
Yeah, give me Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Kyler Murray.
I agree.
Yeah, listen, in the beginning of the season, it was tightly contested, especially before Dak got, brutally injured. But Dak, Mr. Unlimited, and Josh Allen were like your respective 1, 2, 3 quarterback for the season, like for how much they were producing. But then like you start to see who the front runners really were as they're breaking out. And it is, you have Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Unlimited, you have Kyler Murray, I don't know if Lamar could be really there, but Patrick Mahomes is right up there too.
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, Justin Herbert was the dark horse. Like you don't normally see rookies really out there, but Herbert is there. So yeah, give me Murray.
I agree. I'll go Murray.
All right. And moving on, we have another barn burner for you, Moose. Denver and Atlanta.
Oh, I totally
this game is in Atlanta, and if you're watching last week's game against the Chargers, you would have saw an amazing comeback win from Drew Lock and the Broncos to beat the Chargers. This was like, what the hell? Like, so when you look at this matchup here, now remember, Atlanta's defense is last in the league for allowing the most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Their secondary is last in the league for allowing the most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. They're damn near in the last for allowing the most points to opposing running backs. So start all your Denver people. Start Drew Lock. There is hesitation there because I feel this is Cloak and Dagger.
I don't know.
Just because.
Great movie.
This is like one of those games where it's
mind game.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, against the Chargers last week, Locke had 248, 3 touchdowns and interception.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't he do that against the Falcons?
2020.
Exactly. And we say that. And then every time Atlanta comes out and does something to screw us in the nuts, all the time, we said, like, don't start nobody from the Falcons. Freaking Matt Ryan puts up like 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. Julio Jones blows up.
This is a total King of the Hill where Bobby's like, that's my purse. I don't know you. And you get kicked in the nuts.
Yeah.
That's what the Falcons are going to do to you when you think.
Like, I want to say start everybody from the Broncos, but realistically, I think you could trust Gordon. I think you could trust Lindsey.
If he plays, he's questionable.
He's questionable with he injured his toe.
I mean, I think you could trust Fant.
You got to trust Fant because, again, like I said, like
Judy,
you trust the numbers. If anything to fall back on, the numbers show you that you start Fant against the Falcons.
Like this is literally one of those games where it's like, if you started, you feel happy if they have a good game. But if you start and they have a bad game, you're like literally like, I had other options. I don't know why I went with it.
Yeah.
It sucks being in that position.
How are you feeling if you're a Judy owner, knowing that everyone was touting him as the better wide receiver coming out and Ruggs is having a better year?
I mean,
is Ruggs having a better year?
This all kind of but these are rookie woes that you're going to deal with. Like when you look at somebody's game tape through their college, or you look at their pro day, or you look at their combine, and you're like, man, this guy's really good. He's going to be exploded when he hits the NFL. He's going to hit the ground running, and he's never going to look back. and then something sidelines him, whether it's injury, it could be a misunderstanding of the playbook, it could be a non-connection with the quarterback.
And that's the
like
reality.
what if, yeah, that is reality. Because
He started out really well.
what if the missing piece to the Judy Lock connection was OTAs, and because nobody got OTAs, they couldn't really build that kind of like core, like that core embodiment of a good combination of quarterback wide receiver.
It's literally like people. It's not Judy's fault. Judy's not a bad player.
No. And I'm not saying that.
It's like, yeah, it's the Lock just coming back. If they had Courtland Sutton, Judy would have been thrown into that number 1 spot. Like he got 10 targets, but only caught 4 passes.
I just think the league has caught up to Judy, and he hasn't made the adjustments like Ruggs has made the adjustments. That's all.
Right. No, I totally agree. But then, let's flip it. What if Judy was picked by the Raiders?
Like you thought that.
Right. What if Ruggs went to Broncos? Would we be having this conversation?
It's all right. So okay. So you
right.
The debate between Ruggs and Judy having a better season. Right now, Judy's having a better season. And here's why. So Ruggs has only had one great game, and that was week 5 against Kansas City, where he scored 24 points. He missed 2 games because of injuries. He's had 3 games of 6.5 points or less, and only 1 game where he almost hit 10 points. Where Judy's consistently hitting 10 points, he's getting the targets like you say, Moose, but he's not getting the receptions. But again, you go up against a tough cornerback matchup or tough defense that schemes for you or knows. Because listen, he even had how many weeks without Drew Lock because of the shoulder injury? 3-4 weeks.
First 4 or 5 weeks.
Right. After and
then like Noah Fant goes down, and then you don't have any of your running backs. Like I think like you could start Judy, but don't expect him to be that 20-point guy.
I like Tim Patrick in this game more than Judy.
I do too.
Because again, another guy who's been like avoided because either the headlines say this or great play by Locke to KJ Hamler to win the game last week against the Chargers. Lindsey got a toe injury, so let's watch. It's a Lindsey watch. While is Melvin Gordon going to struggle against this Atlanta's defense like he struggled last week against the Chargers? Well, no, because the Chargers have a better run defense than the Atlanta Falcons. So, yeah, this could easily be a good Judy game, but then I feel like it's going to be a good Tim Patrick game.
Yeah, and on the Atlanta side, I think you start everybody from Atlanta.
Tough question, Jay.
I think you could start Matt Ryan. I think you could start Gurley. I think you start Jones. You watch Ridley to see what happens with that toe. You start Hurst.
Yeah. Jay has a question. Would you start Antonio Gibson over Zeke this week? Now, normally I would say, no, you stick with Zeke. But
yes,
right now they're playing the Steelers this week. There's a 13.5-point spread for the Cowboys. They have Gilbert starting quarterback, not DiNucci. Sure, they have a healthy offensive line. Zeke is healthy, but they're not going to be honest. They're going to force Dallas to pass the ball, and they're going to stack the box against Zeke.
Yeah, I think you start Gibson here.
Yeah.
And you start Gibson with confidence.
Right. Unless you have better options, or if you don't have any better options, then you're stuck with playing Zeke. Like, I have no choice but to play Zeke this week.
Yeah.
Those are my options. So, but yeah, I would probably say Gibson.
For
and
sure.
That's tough to say. But if you look at the past 3 weeks, what Zeke has done since Dak has gone down.
Yeah, I mean, it's the reality of fantasy football. And now you have to take names away, and you have to go by the product, and you have to go by the, what the numbers are saying. And the numbers are favoring Gibson against the Giants instead of Zeke against the Steelers.
Right.
If we had if Dak was still healthy, I think that's a different conversation.
We'll get Dallas-Pittsburgh matchup soon when we talk about it, but I'll have a question to pose to both of you about Zeke when we get there. On the Atlanta side of ball, really quick, so we can wrap this up and then move on to our next matchup. You're starting Gurley. You're starting Ryan. Obviously, Julio's a go. Do you like Hayden Hurst in this matchup?
I do.
Okay. If you're the streaming tight end type and who's available, you definitely go out and get him.
I definitely do, especially with Ridley having the chance of missing. I think he kind of steps into that number 2 kind of role.
Okay.
Look out for Gage if Ridley doesn't start, but also look at Ridley. Like, don't wake up Sunday expecting him not to start, and he has the chance of starting.
All right.
If he does, I think you could start Ridley.
If you're looking at the free agency and you saw Mike Gesicki, Hayden Hurst, and Noah Fant, how would you rank those 3 tight ends and who you would pick up?
I would go Noah Fant, Hurst, Gesicki.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would flip-flop to Hurst, Gesicki, because Arizona tends to give up points to tight ends. But then again,
Tua's starting, so
yeah, so it could be tough. But I think the big tuna.
The big T.
The big T. All right. Moving on. The Las Vegas Raiders. And the Go Chargers go. 4-3 versus 2-5. This is West Coast division rivalry at its best.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah.
If they're still on the West Coast, but they're Las Vegas now, but they will be in LA.
Yeah, this is a game we're picking.
Yes.
I like it. I like the
matchup. I like the matchup too because it's really good.
The Raiders are playing with such confidence that we haven't seen since 2002 when they made it to the Super Bowl.
The Rich Gannon days?
The Rich Gannon.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm dropping names.
Right.
But the Chargers, their record doesn't
justify their play.
They're playing right. That's why I think this is going to be a great game.
Do you think things would be different if Eckler was still healthy?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what they're missing. They're missing that running back that they need, and I don't think they're getting it out of Josh Kelly and
confident running back.
They're not getting it out of Jackson or Kelly. And I think from this point on, since the Eckler went down, I don't think you can start either running back confidently against any good matchup until further notice. Until you see a clear-cut guy emerge and actually do something in 2 games. I need a 2-game minimum to see out of this running back, if I own one of them, to actually give me confidence to start them. And that's legitimate right there. But I love this matchup between the Chargers and the Raiders. Both have great fantasy potential. David Carr has been on point. Justin Herbert has been like a trailblazer for rookie quarterbacks. Huge candidate for Rookie of the Year this year. Keenan Allen has been great. He's been his go-to guy. Guys like Guyton have been scoring.
Mike Williams.
I think the only one who's kind of suffering is Hunter Henry because he doesn't have to really rely on a tight end because Mike Williams has really stepped up. All these wide receivers are finding ways to get open. Now on the Raiders side, Nelson Aguilar is the wide receiver who's completely emerged as Carr's second go-to next to Waller.
Right. I mean, he had his big game against Tampa last week against Cleveland. He was targeted twice, but that was it. I mean, but you have the whole Ruggs is back healthy. He's going to be spreading the ball. Hunter Renfro's there. Safety blanket. You got Baller the Waller or Waller Baller.
I am the Walrus.
I am the Walrus running down the middle.
Kajou.
Jacobs finally is emerging as who we thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
I projected him to be a top 5 running back. These last 2 weeks showed he's capable of it. But now let's see if
I think the end of season numbers will not reflect the fact of how we projected him,
I
which
hope
is fine.
Sees what he's doing and keeps that going.
Yes, definitely. Every week has been something new for Gruden. He's had to make adjustments. He's had to switch things around since the bye week. Listen, Jacobs came out and he faced a tough Tampa Bay defense. Obviously reflected it. He bounces right back against Cleveland and has 31 attempts for 129 yards. No touchdown. It's sucky, but listen, you got 31 touches and 1 target. That's the only thing that I have a problem with because look at the trend here. 6, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 1. Is this is this the precipice of the cliff where you start seeing the drop in targets out of Jacobs? Because if that's the case,
or was that just game plan?
but okay, but if I may play devil advocate on here,
May.
if he decides that I don't really want to utilize Jacobs in that way, I want to think of more of him as a ground and pound guy. 31 attempts is a lot of ground and pound.
Yeah.
Right there.
You're still happy with that.
Right. You just hope that you get continued production. Now he had 4.2 yards per carry, which that's a little above average. 3.5 is the average. So anything above that, it's just slightly above average. If he was at more of a 5.1 or higher, then it'd be a lot happier because then you might see that touchdown. But definitely not showing our top 5 love that we gave him in the beginning of the season.
I agree. I kind of figured too, like he would be more involved in the passing game. But once again, if you're getting 31 carries to 1 reception a game, I mean, they're using him for that reason. We were just saying that he's more capable, and he's a capable back to get 6 to 7 targets a game. Obviously, Gruden doesn't think that because he'd rather him pound the ball 31 times.
Yeah.
Which is good for the wide receivers.
So, okay. If you're a fantasy player and you are trying to figure out your wide receivers for this week, and you had to choose between Mike Williams, Henry Ruggs, and let's say Devontae Parker. If you had to rank those 3 right there.
Parker, Williams, Ruggs.
Okay.
Once again, I think Ruggs is still used.
If I replace Ruggs with Aguilar, would that alter your ranking?
No.
Okay.
I feel like Aguilar is the safety net for Carr, but like Ruggs is still used as that like home run hitter. He hasn't transitioned yet to be that home run hitter, but he's going to play that slot. He's going to do those things.
Okay.
That's just what I feel they're using him for right now to kind of get him into the NFL. Does that make sense? You know, like learn the ropes. You're going to be out there, but we're not going to treat you like
it's not like you're going to be a one and done guy.
Right.
You know, he's going to be in the NFL for as many years as many teams wants him. I mean, listen, if Cooks can still get a job and just get traded
so
around
like now they're going to be like, all right, instead of the like 10 to 12 number 1 receiving targets.
Right.
All
right, Elliot, I'm going to have you start this one off. You got Raiders or Chargers? Technically, you should be picking first every one of them because since you're the deep dish leader. Lead dog.
I'm going with the Raiders. I think even though Justin Herbert might be the better fantasy quarterback, Derek Carr has a more complete accompaniment of players for which he can distribute the ball to score points. So I am going to ride with Derek Carr and Chucky.
All right.
I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Very nice.
I am also going with the Raiders. Period.
Go Chargers, go. Listen, it sucked last week. This Chargers defense definitely has holes in their defense that allow things like this to happen. And their record does not reflect how they're really playing. I think they come out, and because this is a division rival game and it's going to be super heated, and Anthony Lynn doesn't back down from anybody, he ain't going to back down from Chucky either. He's going to go toe-to-toe with him.
Because he's a Charger.
Right. You got a Charger and a Raider, and you're going to have a lot of fumbling and a grumbling and a bumbling. And you know what? Chargers still going to win. Locked in. Over. That's how you end it, right there.
We have to end it with a period.
Dot.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the afternoon games, boys. And we're going to start with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys. And Moose, if you tell me this is a game we have to pick, I'm getting up and leaving right now.
This is the game of the week. No, I'm joking. No, I wouldn't do that to our fans. We're better than that.
Right? We got to be. All right, so the question I want to pose to you guys is Zeke tradable now?
Yes.
And at what value could you honestly get for him?
Whatever to help out your team.
Realistic value, though. Like if you took name factor out of it, right? Because we do tend to look past the names. We look at what
But who are you targeting in your league? Are you going after the big dogs that are in the playoff hunt? Are you going after the guys that you know are not going to make it and are looking to rebuild for the next year?
Okay.
Especially in a keeper league. You could sneak a wide receiver or running back, or if you need 2 running backs, you could get 2 decent running backs for Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you really are looking to trade somebody for Elliott, like, maybe you could get, like, Gordon and AP or something like that. Like, I'm trying to, like, think of, like, a scenario of what somebody might have, you know? And that's where I kind of feel the ballpark is. I don't think you're going to get the elite guys like the Kamara, the McCaffreys, unless you're packaging a deal to where it helps out both teams. But I think you get those kind of like low end number 2, high end number 3 tier players. Like, I don't know, like Gordon.
Is he still worthy of a first round pick?
Like, if somebody offered you Gordon and Bell for him,
okay,
would you take that? Montgomery and Bell.
No.
Like Devontae Swift and like Gordon.
Oh.
Like these are the names like
right.
Jones and Montgomery from the Bucs. Like those are kind of the names that I'm kind of like feeling, you know, I would even throw like a Mixon, maybe a Mixon Montgomery. Kind of
like if I got an offer of like Melvin Gordon and say Rojo, then I'd probably be and then say like picks were discussed in between it, then I think I might take that deal right there.
You know, kind of.
But that's where we're at right now, because if I'm in the mentality where either I am on the cusp of making playoffs and potentially winning, or I'm already in that grade of area, but I need help to get me to push through, then yeah, I'm making that trade. But
like I think
we all know what it's going to be like come next year when Dak's healthy, when everything it's going to be different.
That's where it comes down to. Are you willing to sacrifice that for the win now? But like I feel like if you get somebody like, let's say you get like Taylor and Rojo, you know, for Zeke, because you're kind of like, hey, you're out of the playoff picture. Here's your rebuild. You get a running back in return for a rebuild in Taylor. Yeah. And you move on with the season. That's where I'm kind of like thinking of the names, but I don't think you're going to go with the big names. Like I don't think you're going to get like a Robinson off of somebody, the Kamara, the McCaffrey. I don't think you're going to get that. You're not going to get the Aaron Jones. No. You're not going to get the Jacobs. You know, those are the kind of names where you stay away from, but you're trying to target people that have these lower tier guys that are not doing well. And I feel like where Zeke is around.
I was going to say you probably can get a second, third tier like player period. And at this point, I don't think he's worth what he would have been worth when Dak was healthy, but I still think you can get probably a second or third round pick for him too, if picks were involved. So definitely like Rojo is a player. Like if someone gave you James Conner and Fournette or James Conner and Bell, maybe. But that's the type of running back that you're probably going to get.
Yeah.
For Zeke at this point. So, you know, if he's not in your plans in your keeper league, then, you know, I'd probably be trying to get something for him.
Right. Not going to happen, Jay. Sorry. This guy's pitching me offers. Oh, my goodness. All right. So, realistically, the Gooch is done. He got whacked. All right.
You're not starting any
this
of the
this boy is wearing cement shoes right now. So now you got Gilbert starting.
His fault. That's the sad part.
So now you have a guy. We're looking at less than a week of reps with the first team offense. Do you even start Amari Cooper?
I don't know. Like that was like I'm so glad I don't own any of the Dallas Cowboys wide receiver
in order to make that hard decision.
Yeah, I wish I had that at the beginning of the year. But
I think you kind of might have to consider this as a bye week for Dallas.
So he was targeted 5 times last week. Lamb was targeted 5 times last week. And I believe Gallup got like 3 targets. I'm sorry.
Gallup was
12 targets.
Yeah, he feasted. But
once
Gallup
again,
is
you're playing the slot.
Gallup is a slot guy.
So now they're benching the Gucci, because he doesn't have experience.
That was a Fucci right there. That was a fake Gucci.
And then they're going with the guy Gilbert, who has 6 total NFL snaps. But you're benching a guy for no experience with a guy with 6 NFL
right.
snaps.
You need a co-signer. You need a co-signer for a good quarterback experience.
You don't start none of that. I think Elliott is the only one you start, and the magical pen says start CeeDee Lamb.
Wow.
That's why I look at it.
Like, if I'm McCarthy, I think he's one and done, boys. I mean,
I totally agree.
I think he's done after this season.
I don't think he should have ever been a head coach. He should have always been a coordinator.
I think Jerry Jones is going to fire him with a fury, like so much fury. He's going to just blast him all over the world, and it's just like it's going to be like a shotgun blast of fury, where he just gets rid of them, and then he goes out and hires another coach. He's like, I don't care. I'll blow through 20 coaches like the freaking Bears and Dolphins have blown through 20 quarterbacks.
Yeah, no, I agree. Steelers side, do you start everybody?
Yeah. What's the word on Deontay Johnson? Last I heard, he was still kind of limited.
He has upside in week 9. They're saying that
I have upside in week 9 too, that I'd actually make it through the week. Go ahead. No, I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead.
Oh, no. That's the only thing that is reported. They're reporting that he has an upside for week 9, but it's still nothing is set in stone. So
all right,
definitely keep a look at it. But I mean, you're starting Claypool, you're starting Schuster, you're starting Connor, you're starting Big Ben.
Yeah, this also comes down to like who feasts the best out of all of them, though. Because at a certain point, it's going to be a lot of carries for Connor. You're probably going to see a lot of carries out of his backup, Samuel.
I don't think so. Like we always say this, that if they're going to go up, they're going to run the ball. I don't think teams are doing that anymore. It doesn't matter. You're in a groove. You're going to keep going. I totally agree in that.
Okay. All right. I mean, I don't think there's any more we can talk about that game right there. Yeah. Miami Dolphins and the Fighting Tunas versus Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals coming off their bye, and they get to host the Dolphins, who came off of a wonderful win, a splendiferous win against the Rams, where that defense looks...
That defense won the game.
Yeah.
Tuna didn't win.
Yeah, the tuna flopped.
The tuna was a bad tuna.
Downside to this, they lost Gaskins to the IR for 3 games. I don't think there's a real upside to this unless you see a clear-cut back come out of this game. But given the fact that they signed DeAndre Washington, it's only going to muddy up the situation until Gaskins comes back. So let's just talk on the Arizona side then, because it's going to be hard to try to figure out who you would like to start on Miami side. So I'm going to start with Arizona. It's easiest. Fantasy potential for Chase Edmonds this week.
For who?
Chase Edmonds.
Oh, hi. He's been doing really good, even with what's his face, Drake, when Drake was in the lineup.
Okay, well, Drake's out. Chase Edmonds
I think, yeah, you start Chase Edmonds. I think you could start everybody. Everybody on the Cardinals side, everybody on the Dolphins side. I don't think you start Tuna though. Okay. I don't think he's there yet.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you can start Tuna. I don't. Devontae Parker maybe, but
so I think you start Devontae Parker. I feel like you start Williams.
Okay.
And probably Gesicki, but that's if you're streaming tight ends.
All right.
My big question for the Dolphins is, what running back are you going with? If you have to go with a running back.
Probably Burrito, because you might end up seeing Howard fall into the end zone on his one of 2 carries. But that's about it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Burrito. You're starting DeAndre Hopkins. Do you like Christian Kirk in this matchup?
I do.
All right.
I do. I like Hopkins. And like we already talked about Murray, definitely start them. This is also one of the games of the week that we're choosing. So,
all right,
I'm going Cardinals.
Yeah, give me Cardinals.
Cardinals.
All right. New Orleans, Tampa Bay. This is a battle for first place here. As Drew Brees and company came off a victorious overtime win against the lowly Bears. And Tampa Bay nearly lost to Danny Dimes and the Giants. So out of these two individuals right here, given how both offenses are very prolific and high-powered, Elliot, how would you view, granted, if Mike Thomas can start this week, if he comes out healthy, you still don't have Emmanuel Sanders. Traquan Smith is Trey No Smith. Jared Cook is viable. Alvin Kamara runs the show. But what do you really expect out of this matchup here? Do you feel like it's going to be guns blazing? Do you feel like it's going to be all hell off wheels here?
This is New Orleans versus who again?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Oh, that's right. It's for the most touchdowns in all of NFL record. Breaking news, like every week. Oddly enough,
by the way, in my little COVID room here, just to give you a heads up, where I got to keep a window open for some kind of breeze, whatever. Yeah, I think a skunk went by and it smells like burnt rubber on here. So yeah, this smells
nice.
in my little COVID studio.
I still have to clean up my fortress of solitude, but you can see my Red Bull refrigerator.
Oh yeah, I got some mess going on back here too, but anyways, yeah, Tampa Bay's defense, which is solid, and their secondary is pretty good. So the battle for the most touchdowns.
I think Alvin Kamara you can start with no hesitation. I think that Latvius, even though the Bears gave you the game plan on how to take him out, I think he's got some flex appeal.
Okay.
As far as the wide receivers go, Traquan is really like I don't know. They're high on Traquan, but like they still have some things to work out. I mean, he was their number one receiver essentially last week, and he was fantasy irrelevant. What's his name that they use at quarterback also? He was more relevant than Traquan was. I mean, if you get Michael Thomas back and he's a full go, then this is definitely going to be – there's going to be a sigh of relief due to the fact that there's going to be a safety valve. There's going to be a full complement of players, and Drew Brees can finally get back to Drew Brees football. But there's something about Tampa Bay that is just – I don't know if it's Brady being more accurate or if they have, if it's Gronk. I don't know what it is. I mean, they have a decent defense. This is really just a pick 'em game, and it just comes down to who's having the better game quarterback wise, because they have, especially if Michael Thomas plays, they have the studs on both teams to be able to win these games, but it's just going to depend on who makes the first mistake or the mistake that's worth it.
What about you, Moose? If Michael Thomas starts this week, do you feel like both defenses are just going to completely disregard each other and they're just going to gun it out?
I think it's going to be a shootout game from the beginning. Whether Michael Thomas is there or not, I feel Kamara is a dual threat. And I think Cooks has a good game at that point. Smith, Sanders, if Sanders is healthy. But I would feel if Michael Thomas comes back, I think Michael Thomas might torch the Bucs. Kind of one of those, I've been out way too long. Hello, league, I am back type thing.
Yeah, he's like a vicious dog, just drooling and pulling at the chain.
If it does turn out to a shootout, does he have enough?
Who holds up more?
Right, exactly.
I actually think Drew Brees holds up more than Tom Brady.
I agree too.
So, but again,
Tom Brady has the better weapons coming into the game,
but
I think Drew Brees could be in there longer than Brady.
Got to look up. I got to try to find out what Tom Brady's average depth of ball is currently this year, because I don't believe he's thrown further than 25 yards.
All right, is Fournette for real?
No, he's fantasy frustrating, and that's how it's going to be. That's all it's going to be. It's just frustrating week in, week out.
So Randall Jones the last 2 weeks had 13 carries, 7.
You call him Randall now? Damn.
Randall,
get your ass over here.
Randall Jones had 13, and then he had 7, whereas Fournette had 11 and then 15.
I think that
Fournette had 7 targets and then 6 targets.
No, again, this is just like moving personnel in and out during it. Listen, last week, excuse me, when he fumbled against the Giants, was only his third fumble in his career. That's what I was going to say, yeah. Third fumble in 3 years.
He got benched.
Right. So he'll learn from it, he'll go from there, and that's why Fournette kind of pops in.
So moving forward, are you still confident starting Jones?
Yes, I do still feel confident, because regardless of mistakes, being benched and what have you, like Bruce Arians can't disregard what he's done. He just can't toss him aside and consider, like in an RBBC with Fournette, that things will be okay. I think this is going to be matchup dependent, what's going on in the play, what is the current situation, does it call for a pass, does it call for more of your first down running back, is one of the guys gassed? That I think that's how Arians is going to kind of call it. Rojo's still going to get the start. He's going to get that first snap, and then going forward, then he'll throw in a little Fournette, a little sprinkle, a little base sprinkle. But to Jade, games in Tampa. Is this one of your matchups, Moose?
No, we already got our 4.
Oh, wait. We did?
Yeah, Dolphins, Cardinals were the last one.
Wow. Look at time flies. Just going through this. All right. I don't think we have anything further to talk about. That's actually the Sunday night game. Sorry to announce that. And for the Monday night game, we got.
So if that's a bad one, I mean, Monday night games.
Oh my gosh.
Patriots and Jets. Good Lord.
I'm just blowing through this one.
So I honestly think that it's an even matchup, but Tampa Bay has the better receivers. It looks like. Right now, we're having an internet. You back, Steve?
I'm back. I'm going.
Yes, no. There you go. No. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Tampa Bay has more of a receiving core, but this is really a pick'em game.
Yeah.
No, is this a pick'em game?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. We already did Dolphins Cardinals was the last one.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying it's a toss up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No. I just want to I was done with that. I don't think anything more could have been said. And then even bringing up the Monday night game between the Jets and New England, there's nothing to talk about with this game here.
I think you could start Newton. I think you could start Harris. You're starting a Patriots wide receiver if you're super desperate.
Damiere Byrd.
Probably. That's what I'll go with. Or the Myers.
Jacoby Myers.
Yep. I mean, the last 2 weeks he had six targets, and then last week he played 99% of the snaps. He had 10 targets.
Okay.
However, unless Crowder is starting, which as of right now he's not, I don't think you start anybody from the Jets.
You're still not going to have Brashard Perriman. You'll have Braxton Berrios.
But are you starting them unless you have to, right?
No, you're not starting LaMichael P. Ryan. You're not starting Frank Gore. You're not starting even Sam Darnold. That's the tough part, because even in the 2 QB league, as long as you at least have a third quarterback, you get swap out. Then that's your choice. But this game is so horrible that you have the 0-8 Jets playing the 2-5 Patriots. We love seeing the Patriots lose, but as far as a Monday night game, this is one of the worst Monday night games you could ever want to watch.
Yeah.
It's I'm not
watching.
No, I mean, only thing is it's a rival game, and the only thing is that the Patriots are not the Patriots of old, and the Jets can at least make it. competitive for like 3 quarters.
Listen,
That's the outcome of the game.
This is just going to be an ugly game. So let's wrap this up with our final game. Like we always leave them last, the best for last, even though they always play so like they're the last of the worst. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that one. But anyways, English is my second language. Gibberish is my first.
I knew it.
Chicago versus Tennessee. This game is in Tennessee. Boys, the entire front line is on COVID, right? Almost essentially. Whitehair test positive. A couple other guys go on COVID.
That's the greatest news the Bears could get.
Right.
Because that means we are forced now to go into the free agency and grab a better lineman.
No, I want more 7th round pick linemen.
They're in the free agency. Don't worry.
No, I want the worst ones.
I know.
Oh, okay. All right. Just wanted to double check here. All right. Also, news: Trubisky hurt his shoulder on his lone play. Flies to California. This does not look good for him. We all know he's just done with the Bears.
People want him back. He did one practice snap, and now he's gone for the season.
Yeah, he's just done. So let's
start any Bears.
Robinson.
I agree with that. Do you start Mooney?
I actually like Mooney. This will be
than Miller.
Yeah, definitely Mooney over Miller.
Okay.
It would go Robinson, Mooney, then Graham.
Even though Miller had his best game of the season with 11 targets, 8 catches, 73.
But Mooney scored the touchdown.
Mooney did score the touchdown. You are absolutely correct. That's 6 for 5.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like Mooney.
He's been consistent, and I think Foles is building a better rapport with him.
I think Mooney flex, Robinson's a definitely go. Do you start Montgomery?
The messed up thing about this, which you just brought up, is that you can run on the Titans. The problem is the Bears don't know how to run anymore. It's like we forgot how to run.
I mean, he did have 21 attempts for 89 yards.
I mean, yeah, sure. I'll take a flyer on him if I need to.
So flex worthy?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah.
Do you start Tannehill?
Oh, for sure.
Do you start Henry?
Yeah, without a doubt.
A.J. Brown?
Without a doubt.
Davis?
Yep.
Junior? I mean, Davis.
Yeah, Davis has been producing, but I mean, yeah.
10 catches or 10 targets, 8 catches, 128 yards. And against Pittsburgh, 10 for 6. 2 weeks in a row, he scored a touchdown.
Right.
I think he could do Davis. I think he could do Brown. I think he could do Junu.
Yeah.
It's really going to come down to who's going to have the best time management. I really think that's what it's going to come down to. The Bears, even though we're flawed, for some reason, we could string in a 8, a 9, 10, 11 play drive and walk away with a field goal and leave the other team with like 2 minutes or 3 minutes to do something, and our defense is good enough to hold them.
But again, if our defense time possession is greater than our offense, then they're gassed. There's not much left for them to do.
But that's what I'm saying.
Right.
The Bears, for some reason, could do this like 9-8 minute drive for our defense. It's just we don't walk away with points.
Yeah.
That's what's hurting us.
I know.
It's really going to come down to if we stop Henry.
Yeah.
I think that's going to what's make or break for the Bears.
And they're going to game plan for Henry, and then it's going to wide open for AJ
Max
Brown.
Max going to be double covered. Hicks is going to be double covered.
Yeah.
Is Roquan Smith and Trevathan going to be enough to stop Henry?
We'll see.
And then it's literally going to come down to the secondary.
We'll see. I mean, it's just another test for our defense of how they match up against.
The Bengals beat them. I'm not saying that the Bengals are bad because they are bad. They're trending in the right position, but the Bengals too.
And they beat them with Giovanni Bernard.
Right. So
anything could happen.
But fantasy-wise,
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, you want
I like the Titans players more than I do like the Bears players for fantasy this week. And as far as it's correct, your question and your thoughts on the Raiders, both Moose and Elliot had picked the Raiders to beat the Chargers this week. They actually liked them. We discussed them earlier, who we liked, who we kind of like are iffy about. A couple of Raider players that we like as well. It's always going to be Jacobs and Waller, but as far as receivers, you can't go wrong with Aguilar. He's been Carr's favorite past few weeks.
Yeah,
Ruggs is very boom or bust.
And I mean, this game may be one of those We talked about the Raiders Chargers maybe being like one of those shootout games. If you're very desperate for a quarterback, maybe Carr.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, if it's like a 2 quarterback lead or he's the only available in your free agency and need somebody for this week.
But he does that stuff where he'll go a couple weeks where
Right.
he does fantastic, and then he just pulls the rug right out from underneath you and then does nothing. So, like a good example, weeks 4 or 5 to go into bye, then 7, 28, 34, 22, and then a game against Cleveland, 13.5.
Yeah.
So that's the literal pulling the rug out from underneath you when you're watching this guy and you're thinking, yeah, I think I could play him because this looks like a good matchup. And he does this. So that's all the time we have today for you guys. We hope you enjoyed watching us and discussing our Week 9 previews. Don't forget to check us out 11 a.m. Central Standard Time every Sunday as we will be doing our Stardom Sit-'em. We will be doing our acclaimed Locked and Loaded. If you guys are experiencing any little freezing, I do apologize for that as well. But for those who aren't having problems, check us out on Instagram. Follow us as well on Facebook, our Facebook group page.
Yeah, leave us any comments on the page. Email us a comment or whatever you're feeling, or Instagram. Your feedback is wonderful.
Yeah, we're also on YouTube. We got things going on there, so we're gonna have it be able to be viewed live on the app. Where if you're unable to get to us on Facebook Live, you'll be able to get to us through YouTube. But from all of us here at Windy City Fantasy, myself, Moose, and Elliot, stay frosty, Chicago.
Have a good night, everybody.